Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the SITREP or summary for the day of 13 to 14 for the 19th to the 20th of October for the Israeli-Hamas war. And I had been forgetting to start off with this. You can actually access this map here. This is actually Google Earth, but the map, which is actually this one, on Google My Maps, you can actually access this. The link is in the description below. So you can go and check it out. Everything is sourced, there's a source to every single piece of information. So no, I do not make things up. No, there's no making things up. If it's an analysis, I'm quite sure you know it is an analysis. So so the past 2 days, the one of the major things that actually I believe had happened is actually the fighting over here in the Nur Sham camp. So in the Nur Sham camp, this is, so I'm not even sure how do you call it a camp. It is basically this town along this this hill, this slope of hill, and this is the Nur Sham camp. So there is heavy fighting over at this Nur Sham camp, and this fighting was so severe that the Ukrainians, sorry, not Ukrainian, slip of tongue, the Israeli coined the airstrike. Apparently this airstrike is most likely a helicopter. It's not the fighter jets or bombers, not the fighter bombers, but they actually call in air support to fight against the people that is fighting against this Israeli. According to pro-Palestinian sources, the fighting is unclear who are they fighting. There's a possibility that they are actually fighting against this the Saraya Al-Quds, the Tulkarm Brigade. Tulkarm Brigade. So it might be possible might be them. There's a possibility that it could be them. The reason because they actually claim that they actually fought against the Israeli forces over at Tulkarm, and Tulkarm. Wow, this is so hard to pronounce. Tulkarm. And basically they actually say that they targeted Israeli fighters at the Nusham camp with bullets and explosive devices. So the fighting over this region here seems to be pretty widespread, and it could be a possibility that the fighting was actually across this entire area here, but most likely is probably around this area as the main one. But this group actually claim responsibility. The Al-Aqsa Brigade themselves, which is the Hamas military arm, actually also claim that they are fighting against the Israelis over at Tulkarm. However, the Saraya Al-Quds say that they are fighting at Nur Sham. So I'm not sure if this is related, or they are both claiming to be doing the same thing, or they are both acting at the same time, or could the Saraya Al-Quds actually fight under the Qassam Brigade? It's very, very hard to tell. But the situation here is pretty severe, and the fighting actually went on for 28 hours, I believe. 28 hours. The whole fighting lasts for 28 hours, and in the end, the resistance, the Palestinian groups claim victory, saying that the IDF failed to reach the wanted resistant fighters that they are trying to arrest. It's very hard to tell. This at least one police officer was killed and 10 more Israeli soldiers were injured for fighting for so long, for more than 24 hours, and not getting the man would be quite disastrous. But of course, for fighting for so long and the Israeli side only have one loss and 10 injured is also quite a failure for the Palestinian side. So let's see how this goes. Will there be a part 2 to this thing, or actually the Israeli actually captured whoever they want to capture? I have not seen this being reported on the Israeli side, so all the information coming from the pro-Palestinian side. As you can see, the Hamas West Bank reported about this, and then this Palestine resist. So let's see how this goes. But this is the biggest battle, I would say, over the past 2 days. That is something I think is more practical. There is also other actions around these regions in the West Bank. For example, the shooting over at Jalaman Jalama checkpoint. There's some gunfire shooting the Israeli security forces over there. There is also another raid being conducted at the Ain El Sultan. So Ain El Sultan is actually the camp. Is this camp? I sometimes the camp doesn't look like a camp. So anyway, this settlement on the northwestern part of Jericho. Jericho is this very legendary place that is mentioned in the Bible, and yeah, I don't know much about it. I'm not a Christian. I have no legs and foot in this stupid conflict. But so the raid was reported over here, and then the fighting ensued over this region here, as the Hamas said that they fired at Israeli forces in this area here in the Ain El Sultan. But of course, the raids being raids, and all these raids actually have some certain results. With the Israeli claim that they have arrested 524 suspects, and among these 524 suspects, 330 of them are working for the Hamas, and they also confiscated 50 weapons. So all these that were confiscated with weapons and operating for Hamas, I think they are GG. So, however, just around 1 to 2 days later, there's this group called the Prisoners Association and the Prisoners Club. This one is a Palestinian group. They say that actually the arrest is 930 cases. So there's around a 24 hours to 36 hours difference between the two statements, but the numbers is hugely different. So the official claim was 500 from the Israeli side, but the Palestinian side is saying 930 with 1 day difference. So even if they capture another 200, that will only make it 700. So there's a huge difference between the two claims. So over going back to West Bank, there is still other fighting. There's fighting over at a Bat Ain. You can see this entire West Bank is one hell of a difficult place to actually govern and control. This is a perfect place for a lot of guerrilla warfare. Just hills and mountains everywhere. Actually, just hills. And Bat Ain, there is a fighters shooting at Israeli settlement. And then there is also another case of fighting over at Beit Haggai. Actually, this one is not. This one is actually forgot to change the colors. So this is actually not correct. I think I should change it now. Sometimes I missed it. So because it's on the 18th, we are talking about 19 and 20. So that is that. Going back to this one. So that's it from the West Bank region. I think that's probably all the main actions over here, and there is mostly just some protests, some marches, a lot of funerals of some prominent people within the Hamas group. There is also some really ridiculous things, like in Iraq. In Iraq, there's massive group of people taking buses. They're gonna go through Jordan, and they're gonna go to the border and do human wave at the Israeli border. I'm not sure if the Jordan will allow them to go in to their country. They're gonna travel from Iraq to Jordan and then gonna go into Palestine and do human wave. They answered the call of the Hamas propaganda leader, so kind of stupid to really listen to them. Anyway, talking about propaganda, I just want to remind you guys, regardless you have a leg or not, especially for those that have a leg, especially if you are pro-Palestine, do be mindful. Especially, I'm talking about to everyone, be mindful. Every single piece of information coming out from either side is there to manipulate your support, to make you support them more, to make you angry, emotional, and fight for their cause. You have to understand that this is a war. When there's war, there's people die, there's people injured. It doesn't matter what age, who are they. People will die. And even if they are men, they are fathers, they are brothers, they are sons. Their life, man's life, is not lesser than woman's life or the baby's life. So don't get manipulated. All life are precious, and this is a war. The war got triggered, they fought, and people will die. and you feel very angry about the Palestinian causes, you feel that they're very oppressed, then I want to ask you, where are you when the Yemenis got attacked by the Saudi Arabians? Who are you going to side? Both are Muslims. Both are, no, your people. If you are Muslim, are you going to support the Houthis or the Yemeni people that was overrun by Houthis, or are you going to support the Saudis who actually use their advanced weaponry gotten from USA to fight against this Houthi group? As you can see, everything is subjective. Human life are lost, people suffer. There was a humanitarian crisis in Yemen. No one talks about it because there's no Israel involved. So you see, it's just propaganda. Do not get emotional. Do not get manipulated by any of this group, be it the Israeli or the Palestinians. It's the same. All these human tragedies happen all the time. So no, don't get affected. Life goes on. Israeli-Palestinian war is not the first time. It has been going on for the past 80 years. It will continue if no sides are able to sort it out. So you can get angry another day. Don't do a stupid thing. Don't get yourself arrested for trying to incite violence. Don't try to go to Palestine to try to fight. You're just another pawn that will be used by the Hamas. So anyway, yeah, same thing. Don't go to Israel just to fight for Israelis. It's the same. You'll just be another pawn also for the Israelis. So don't do that, please. It's not your war. Don't get involved. Unless it's your war, fight all you want. You can go and fight. If it's not your war, don't get involved. That's how I feel. So anyway, there is still airstrikes being reported within the Gaza city, the Gaza Strip, but it's not that much as far as the information that I've seen. But this is not exhaustive, so probably even the people reporting this are kind of give up to report every single airstrike. So the majority of airstrike actually is concentrating over at the area of Gaza City and also over here in Khan Yunis. Mainly the Gaza City, there is actually airstrikes over at Sheikh Rawan, over at this area is called what? What is this called? East of the Gaza City. In this area actually is called the Shujaya, and then there's another one over at Tal al-Hawa. What's more interesting, I would say, that something different from the usual is actually artillery shelling over at Jabalia. So shelling is being reported at Jabalia according to the information from Palestinian media. They say that heavy shelling in the area of Anwar Aziz Square over the Jabalia camp. So the Israelis still have not launched a ground offensive, and the Hamas forces continue to just react against this airstrikes with rocket shelling. There is rocket shelling being reported over at wrong color, Beersheba, over this place at Shufa. At this one is, what is this place? I can't remember. Netivot. There's another airstrike. There's any shelling over at Kafar Azza, and over here at Sderot, at Ashkelon, as well as Ashdod, Tel Aviv. So this is the usual. The airbase, I forgot to change color. So what's much more interesting is the shelling of the south of Ashkelon. According to information from Hamas, the Katsa brigade, they reported that they actually bombarded the Katsa tank field south of Ashkelon. So which means that south of Ashkelon, in this area here, this entire region here, wrong color, I should use blue. This entire region here, this field region is where the Israeli actually gather their armored forces, and this is probably where we saw all these footages and images of the masses of armored vehicles. I think this is exactly where it is, and it's distance enough from the Gaza city to avoid artillery shelling. I think the distance between this area here is around 10 kilometers. So 9 to 10 kilometers, a bit far for mortar shelling, but it's is near enough for the armored vehicles to go on attack when it need to, and it's near to Ashkelon, and it's near the highway system over here. So let me turn on the highway. Yeah, you can see there's a major highway around over down this road, so it's very convenient for the Israeli forces to gather a force in this area and then do this attack towards Gaza Strip. Tentatively, the rumors are all saying that the Israeli are delaying the ground offensive out of concerns of the prisoners, which I probably don't think so. I think that the main issue is the airstrikes that they have conducted thus far has not succeeded in getting what they want to achieve. This is what I think. So they have conducted all these airstrikes and they did not achieve the strategic objective that they have been pursuing. So I think this is why they're delaying and actually are trying to figure out what's a better game plan to deal with the fighting against Hamas forces within Gaza Strip. And based on one of the tweets shared by DD Geopolitics, she tweeted something about the a Russian general sharing his experience in Syria. He said that all these bombings and shelling in the surface region is not going to reach the real militants. The militants are all going to be underground, and they will appear when the fight comes. And all these destroyed buildings and everything will just increase more places for the fortified positions for these militant groups. And this is based on the Russian experience when they are fighting in Syria. So he said all these armored columns are going to be useless, and they are all gathering in a good place, all concentrated in one place and perfect to get destroyed. And all this is based on the experience of the Russians over in Ukraine. So there is a lot of experience that the Russians have gained, and I believe that out of the whole world right now, the military wise, I think Ukraine and Russia are currently the most advanced in terms of practical warfare experience, and especially the Russians, because the Russians have a lot more capacity and potential than the Ukrainians, because Ukraine is a smaller country with a smaller military and with heavy losses. That is hard to replace with the Russians with a bigger military. Yeah, the education in terms of the military doctrines and everything is much more easier to preserve within the Russian side. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of point. And I think you can also check out the History Legends video which mentioned about the danger of entering Gaza Strip, and this also corroborates this Russian general's experience in Syria. So do check out also DD Geopolitics on Twitter, but do be mindful that she's pro-Russian and she's also pro-Palestine, so you may get triggered. So this is important to note before you go on there and feel very betrayed by my recommendation. And over at the Lebanese Israeli border, the skirmishes continues, mainly with the Israeli claiming that it's Hezbollah that is shelling them, and then the Al-Aqsa brigade say that it is their Lebanese group that is shelling. As one example, they say that it's the Al-Aqsa brigade bombard Haifa. Sorry, wrong one. I forgot to change so many colors. Okay, so this one. So the Al-Aqsa brigade Lebanon claims responsibility for the shelling of this town of wrong color, Naharia, as well as the other one at Shlomi. So this two is claimed by the Al-Aqsa brigade. Otherwise, there is still a lot of attacks from the Hezbollah side. There is attack on Zarit over here at this is what the word never come out. Hadov at this area at Magaliot, as well as Menera. So these are mostly anti-tank guided missile attacks. Some, I think there's one over here at Hardov. No, it's not Hardov. It's, I think, the one at Zarit. Is it Zarit? Yeah, towards Zarit is a light arm fire. So they use a machine gun or something, or assault rifles to fire at the Israeli soldiers over there. And the Israeli, of course, as usual, responded with airstrikes, and over the past 2 days there are airstrikes within the Lebanese territory. So there is also other claims of shelling and whatnot, but I think largely it's very unimportant. I don't think you really care about all this very granular information. Just know that they are actually exchanging fire in this border region, and this border region is just as terrible. This is probably worse than West Bank. You can see the hills here are much more steeper and higher, and fighting over here is like fighting in Afghanistan, I would say. So this is so far Israeli do not have very good experience of fighting within Lebanon. So you can see all this region here. Yeah, it looks like West Bank, but with Lebanese flavor. So yeah, so anyway, Israel have to make decisions, and very very hard decisions, I would say. This is not fighting against main militaries, like the Egyptian army or the Syrian army, because defeating an army is much easier than defeating guerrillas. So fighting against rebel forces or militant groups is always going to be like trying to eliminate cockroaches from your neighborhood. It's going to be really hard, or elimination of rats, because they are very good at hiding. They cannot inflict heavy damage on you, they cannot defeat you, but they can become a nuisance that just cannot be eliminated. Just ask the Americans in Afghanistan. Their experience is just horrid. So anyway, thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe. As I mentioned, you can check out this mapping over in the links below, and do consider supporting DPA financially on Patreon, Coffee, or join the YouTube membership. That helps as well. And you can also join the community, talk more in the DPA forum, the DPA Discord. Yeah, just check the links below. All the links are below. And I'll see you in the next update.